Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Phil Stern. I'm the Partner Program Manager here at NUSO. And today we are going to be talking about a great product that we offer, NUSO Connect for Business. This is a contact center solution. And to talk more about this, I've got a couple fantastic guests with me. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Let's kick it off with David.
Hey, good morning, everybody. David Lillis here. I'm the Director of Product Management here at NUSO. And welcome. Glad you guys are here.
And hi, guys. My name is Nigel Smith. I'm Product Coordinator with NUSO. My background has been within contact centers for the last 20 plus years. Have been with NUSO for the last 2 to 3 years now.
Awesome. All right. Well, Nigel, I think we're actually going to have you start this off.
Okay.
Let's get going.
Okay, so today what we're going to do, we're going to follow this rough outline of an agenda and step you through, starting with exactly what is NUSO Connect for Business. So we'll look at that in the next slide. We'll give you a little bit of a product overview of it, and then we'll look at the agent console, what the advisors see, so the call handlers, the supervisory tool. So we'll step into the supervisor console and take a look at what the supervisors have access to, who the target customers are for NUSO Connect for Business, and finalizing with where you actually go and find this within the management portal.
And then also, just before we get going, if anybody has questions as we are going through, throw them in the chat. We will get to them at the end. So don't be shy.
Okay, so I'll kick it off. So NUSO Connect for Business, it's basically an integrated cloud contact center solution that is fully integrated into our NUSO.io portal, which you'll see Nigel demonstrate here in just a little bit. I'm giving you some advanced capabilities such as dashboards, reporting, and also gives you the ability to have some skills-based routing in a very flexible contact center. It is a primarily voice-only contact center. We will be making some improvements over time to this contact center, but that's the general idea of where this fits in the businesses.
Yeah, it's really for that that customer who needs more than just a traditional UCaaS environment would offer them, especially with things like that skill-based routing. That's a great feature in there. At least I think it is for anybody who needs more control and more flexibility with their voice.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in there, Phil, and say that it really NUSO Connect for Business it isn't just for the small businesses. It's really targeted at any size business that wants that little bit more control over their routing of their calls. Beyond the traditional ring-based, hunt group-based routing that you find in UCaaS systems there today.
Love it.
In fact, that leads simply into the target customers here. Who is it targeted at? So it says small to medium-sized businesses looking for advanced skill-based routing. So we've already touched on that beyond the traditional hunt group and ring-based working of UCaaS systems today. It's flexible, it's fast, and it's easy to set up. It's simple and easy to access. It's as David has mentioned, it's directly integrated within the NUSO.io portal, and it's been developed so that you don't need to have specially trained comms managers managing the system. So no technical expertise is needed to manage it. It is simple as point and click within the management portal to add users to queues, change strengths, set up new routing rules and things. So, I mean, the traditional sort of way to think about this is any business that has any form of department-based working. And the typical ones we've got listed on the screen are, customer support centers, sales departments, etc. But many businesses have those little niche groups where they have a department, a group, and you need to be able to distribute the calls to certain people in a certain pattern. That is really where NUSO Connect for Business fits in.
Yeah, it's also not just the distribution piece, but even the monitoring aspect.
Exactly.
You know, in a past life, I did a lot of work in sales departments that work directly over the phone, specifically in car warranty sales. And my boss watched everyone on those phones like a hawk through software very similar to what we offer here in Business Connect. And it was invaluable for what he did, making sure that calls were being answered in a timely manner. People were logged into their queues. Because believe it or not, that's something people do. You know, call centers, keeping people on the phones, keeping them in the queues. It can be a little bit of a trick. And so when you can monitor this stuff just through a screen, it's huge. All right. Okay, let's do a quick overview here. So another really great aspect about this, and we briefly touched about this is a single ecosystem. So this is directly tying in to our system. This is not a white label product. This is a NUSO product, which is great. And currently it is active on our Orange Metaswitch platform. Now we are going to support this on the GreenNet Sapiens in the future. We will have more details about that at a later date, but that is coming. The good news is that in the meantime, and we'll get to this later, is we do have a contact center solution, a native brew that's actually on that Net Sapiens, which is really cool. But it's all baked into our management portal. We'll actually show you that today. So the NUSO, NUSO.manage, our NUSO.io managed platform, it is built in there. It's just another tab under the configuration side of things. So you can easily do updates to skill-based routing, the entire configuration. It's all done within our homegrown NUSO.io, which is awesome. The real-time monitoring, just talked about that. Analytics, data, reports, that's all there. The reporting stuff is so easy to access. It's right there in your face. Beautiful color graphs. We'll show it here in a bit, rather than me trying to explain colors and graphs. And then cost effective. And actually, this is a huge piece to this. There are a lot of levels of pricing out there when it comes to contact center solutions. They can range from 10 to 20 grand and then everywhere in between. And so this solution is very cost effective. It's not something that is going to kill a small to medium sized business at all, especially if they need this type of addition to their call routing. All right. Nigel, let's talk more about the system. Let's talk about that agent console.
Yeah, sure. So the agent console is it's been designed with ease in mind. It's simple to access. It's via a browser. All you need to do is have that URL. You bookmark it when you start your day. Open that bookmark. Enter your credentials and log in, and you're ready to go. As we've said, it's browser based. It has a built-in soft phone, so the voice is direct through the browser itself. No need for a separate telephone on the desk.
Now, Nigel, if we want to have things routed to a desk phone, is that something we can do?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can work with either the soft phone or you can have a desk phone. In actual fact, there is also a console-less way of working where you can actually dial in and direct from your handset. So you can key a number in, punch in your PIN code, and you are logged in, and then you can do the same for logging out of the system as well. So you can have a phone-based login if you want. So the console itself is very attractive. It's easy on the eye. It's been designed to be friendly and be clean without too much clutter. So we have over on the left-hand side, we have the waiting calls panel, and we'll look at this in a moment, a little bit later. In the top right center, we have the active call area. So this will show any calls that you are connected with and that you are handling. And at the top, they're slightly grayed out on this screenshot. We have the call handling keys. They are essentially that's your soft phone. And in the bottom middle, we have the contact directory of regular business contact numbers and also other advisors, so you can see their status in there. You can easily and quickly transfer calls to them if you need to. And then over on the right hand side, we have the queuing information, and you can see some slider switches there. So this means that the advisors themselves, the call handlers, can, if you've allowed it through the management interface, they can opt in and out of queues. Now, not all contact centers allow you to opt in and out of queues. Some just prescribe you to the queue, and that is what you have to live with. We have control over that within the admin interface there, Phil. So we can actually disable that functionality if we want to. Okay. And then
focusing. Sorry, Nigel, not to cut you off, but to focus a little more on how important this feature is. A real-world example. In training scenarios, a lot of the times new people on the phone will be put into one, maybe two or three queues. But having the ability for not only the agent to get out of a queue, let's say they're freaking out, they're nervous, especially if they're reading a script, which this is all stuff that happens. They can easily get out of there, take a break, and we'll show you this in a bit. On the supervisor side, the supervisor can get them out as well. So if the supervisor hears them completely bombing on the phone, just pull them out, go pull them into an office, give them a talk, go over stuff, do some of that training. So that is a very awesome feature to have here.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, Phil, you can also have the situation where you have supervisors that are logged in, but they've actually opted out of the queues, and when they actually hear the queues getting busy, they can switch themselves in. Now you could rely upon the skill levels that you set within the queues to actually bring in more resource as the queues get busier and busier. So you have options. You can either use the skill levels within the queues themselves, or you could have this manual opt-in and opt-out solution. I'm just thinking
some managers are going to be, I want to do it hands-on, some are not.
Yeah, exactly. And the last bit to touch on is in the top right, where we have the little avatar, the green the green dot. The advisors can go up here and they can actually change their status from being available, and they can select a range of unavailable codes that you have access to. You customize through the management portal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, supervisor console.
Okay, so moving on to the supervisor console, very similar to the agent console. Again, it's browser based. It's easy on the eye. It's been designed with ease of use and friendliness in mind. So down the left hand side, we have a range of options. So we have the general high level general dashboard, what's occurring within the system. We have a queue dashboard, the call details screen, which is specific, details on active calls that are taking place currently. And then you have the agent details screen and the queue details screen. So we're actually on the queue details screen here, and you get to see all of your queues in one easy to manage view here. But you can then click into and drill down into a queue and see the advisors that are managing and logged into those queues. And over on the right, I'm not sure if you can make it out in the screenshot, there is the options slider. So supervisors that are managing those queues can actually opt in and out the agents within this queue as well. Okay, so super easy to manage your queues using the supervisor. We call this the QMS console.
Yeah, it really is. If anybody has ever seen, we did a webinar a few weeks back on NUSO Connect for Enterprise. So that is our big dog. We're talking huge contact center solution. The depth and complexity of that product it's big. The functionality is on a whole other level, and it's not for everyone. And that's why we have these options. And I will tell you, if you're looking for the flexibility of that skill-based routing, a dashboard where you can monitor calls and things like that. This right here, as opposed to 30 potential tabs and panels like our enterprise product, massive difference, especially for, again, companies that don't need all that complexity. So had to do a comparison to that. Okay.
And I guess lastly, moving on, where do you find it? Well, we've already mentioned that it's integrated directly within NUSO.io, your portal. and you find it over in the left-hand menu, and it's called Connect. It could be Connect, and then it might have your business name in there. But within this area, this is where you will manage and create your advisors, your call handlers, manage your queues, access reports, set up things like the business hours and holiday dates, unavailable reason codes, etc., and uploading of audio prompts. So you can customize the audio prompts that you want your callers to hear on your queues. You have access to all of that direct from NUSO.io.
Love it. Yeah, and why don't we do this, Nigel? Let's actually dive in. Why don't you take my screen share and let's just take a look at this stuff.
Yeah, so let me switch to my screen here. Okay, let me just move this out of the way. There we go. I take it you have my screen okay there, Phil, yeah?
Yep.
We got you.
Yeah, we see it perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the operator console that we spoke about earlier. So we can see the waiting calls panel here. We've got my my login at the top here. I can change my status. I'm currently not available, but I can make myself now available. Okay, so my status has changed, and we see the directory in the bottom and my ability to sign in, out of individual queues, or I can actually do this globally as a whole if I wanted to take myself. You have control over what advisors can do here. And at the top, we have our soft phone. And I'm just going to whilst I'm talking, just hit a speed dial on my cell phone here and dial in. Okay, yeah, so we're going to see a call. We're going to see a call coming in here with a waiting call here, and it's going to alert on the screen at the top here. Okay, so here we have the details waiting. It's in the billing queue. We see the details on the screen, and I'm hearing a ringtone. I'm not sure if you're hearing that, and I can answer this. So let me just mute my phone here. So on the screen, we can see that we have an active call. I have my call handling keys, as I mentioned. We have the mute key here. We have the hold, and we have resume. Okay, sorry, I hung up there, so just bear with me.
I think we've all done that before.
Yeah, no, I knocked my phone and.
Yeah, so you're good. I know. While we're waiting on that, another thing I know is like transferring options. It's got the stuff you'd expect we can do.
That's exactly where I was going, Phil.
I figured. You got the blind transfer. Go ahead.
Let me just mute myself here. Yeah, so transfer is super easy. We can either do it all from at the top here, do this, or I can come down here and I can click on one of my advisors, my colleagues' names, and straight away I've got call. Do I want to transfer? Do I want to do a consultation? Camp the call on, etc. Do I want to add this person and build my own personal team here, etc. So I can choose to transfer to their extension or a business number, and equally do that to an external contact as well. So call handling is super easy within the agent console, and it's all done from these context sensitive call controls here, or like I said, you can manually do this from up here. You have further options here, so you've got hang up, hold, mute. Everything is at the click of a button on the call that you're dealing with. Okay.
Yeah, I like that we have it spread out. It's because we all use systems all over the place in different software, so it's kind of in multiple places.
Yeah.
Just to make it easy wherever your mind is guessing it's going to go.
Exactly. And then when we do hang the call up here, we'll notice that the advisor state goes into unavailable, and then we can that will eventually time out and you'll be placed back available. Or you can actually shortcut that yourself. Okay. And then you've got various bits of information about who the last person was you spoke to. You can, as I mentioned, you can build your own team. So if you're in a larger contact center environment, but you have a preference of your own advisors, you can build that in here, and you can also add speed dials to your own list as well. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Let's check out the supervisor console. I want to see that, okay. Or QMS as well.
So I'm going to just switch to this other tab here. So this is the QMS console for supervisors. Again, we have a simple login to this, and we can take a look at the general dashboard. And the general dashboard gives you these high visibility widgets, if you like, that, you know, information about what's taking place in the contact center today, you know, waiting calls, max waiting times, average waiting times, etc. Graphs showing you peaks and troughs, etc. And then down the bottom here we have individual queues, so we can see the SLAs and waiting times on a per queue basis. We can actually drill into a queue. So now it's jumped me down to the queue details screen for that particular queue. I'm just going to switch back to the general dashboard. We're going to look at queue details in a moment. So from here, we can then take a look at the queue dashboard. So again, we get these high visibility SLA widgets for the individual queues. Okay. We can look at live call details. My call's gone now, but we would see information about the waiting times, the caller ID, the agent they're speaking to, the queue name that the call is connected on, how long they've been in conversation, etc. So this would give us that visibility of active queues, and we can filter on individual queue names here, or advisor names, or we can look at all calls, or only those that are active, or only those that are queuing or waiting to be answered, and take a look at those. Looking now further ahead now at the agent details screen, now we see what each of our advisors within the contact center is doing. And okay, so I'm logged in as Ethan here. We can switch to Ethan, and we can see the individual queues that this user is assigned to. Okay, so he's assigned to these queues within the configuration, within the admin configuration, but the supervisor can, if they want to, at the click of a switch, opt them in and out of queues and take them in and out themselves, which is really useful. So that's super easy to do. And we also see the status of the advisor, what state they're in. Okay. So similar screen though for the queue details now, but now each row is per queue. So we have a billing queue, general inquiries, main queue, and support queue. And we see these stats for the queue and the SLAs, etc. But you can now drill into a particular queue, and you can now see the advisors that are assigned to the queue, and you can sign them in and out. And even though an advisor may not be logged in using the operator console, remember we talked about that, the phone-based login. So you can actually log people in to the queue, and now the call will start alerting at their phone as if they logged in via the phone. So you can just opt them in and out of the queue and have that phone-based login activated at that point. Okay.
Yeah, this is great. Again, from that supervisor standpoint, these data points are great to have.
Sure.
Again, you can, like just for example, the overflow call, a column alone, as a manager or supervisor of any type of call center, that's huge, because if you're getting a ton of overflow calls or abandons, maybe you're going to call in some people early to get into a shift so you can get those phones taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just great. Again, quick data right here between these 5 panels.
Okay, and then I guess moving on from the supervisor console, where to find it, we spoke about it being directly embedded within the management portal. So here it is under our Connect menu, and here we can see the advisors that we have configured on the system. If we need to add more advisors and pull them from our Orange platform, we can simply click on Add. These are all the Orange UC users that aren't assigned to the NUSO Connect, and we can then simply add these. We would fill in their email address. That would send them an invite, and we can set their role to either be an agent or an agent and a supervisor. I won't add any more people to it, but we can then manage their queue assignments from here. So looking at Ava, we can see that she's assigned to all of these queues. She's assigned as an agent and a supervisor to them, and we can change the skill level within those queues. Okay, very simple to do. We can edit certain information about Ava. So if we need to do a password reset or a PIN reset, so the PIN is used when we do those phone-based logins, and we can change her profile, her role within the contact center. Looking down towards the queues, we can see we've got our 4 queues built out here. We can simply add another queue. So, and we can give it a name. We can cherry pick a number from our inventory and assign a pilot number, a DID number to it. We can also assign multiple DID. So if you've got lots of different telephone numbers that all ring into, say, the sales queue, you can have the main sales number, but then you can also then assign multiple secondary numbers that also, when they ring in, they will all target the same queue. You can set the time zone of the queue, and that will determine when the contact center opens based upon that time zone. And you can set the service opening mode to manual and automatic. We can assign agents. So you can now pick from all of your configured agents and what their skill is going to be within the queue. So not only can you affect the skill level at the agent level, you can do it from the queue level also. You can determine the business hours, and you have 2 options for when you're adding a time plan. You either have a system-wide time plan, so that would be a common time plan that would apply to all of your queues, or you can have a custom time plan that is very specific to this particular queue. So system is great if all of your queues are using the same operating times, but on those odd occasions where you need to close a particular queue, that's when you would use a custom time plan. Then you get into the parameters of how the queue is going to function. So you have things like, how many calls we're going to wait in the queue before we overflow it. Those settings that Phil was mentioning on the dashboard that you could see. What to do when there aren't any agents available. How long before we play the first hold prompt? Do we want to play position in queue and announce you are position 3 in the queue, etc. What are the prompts that we want to play, so we can cherry pick those. We can go on and on through these, and what you can do as well is you can manually close lines if you need to. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is great, and we won't show you all the configuration stuff because there's a lot here, and we're trying to be time sensitive here.
Sure.
As we're running out of time. But no, this is great. And if anybody has any questions, I know I've seen a couple come through. If anybody has questions, now's the time. Throw them in the chat. We'd love to get them answered. And one thing we will talk about while we're waiting is, again, this is a contact center solution. It's baked into our Orange UCaaS platform. It's fantastic. We do also have one that's baked into our GreenNet Sapiens UCaaS too. So we've got options for customers on either platform.
The other thing, Phil, sorry to jump in here, is that as well as the things like the operator console being standalone on the Orange platform, it is Teams certified. So we do also have the same style of interface. I had this open in this other browser here, so I didn't have a conflict. But so we do have this. It looks slightly different, but it's exactly the same operation. But now the voice device, instead of it being a baked-in soft phone within the browser, it's your Teams phone. So it's actually using the native Teams dialer, the phone within Teams. We can change the status just like we did before. We have the directory just as we did before, and the advisors also have access to the dashboard direct within Teams as well. Okay, yeah. So it's just worth pointing this out.
You know what? I wasn't paying attention to my notes, so I'm really glad you brought it up because this is huge. I mean, Teams is. If anybody's been on our webinars in the past year, we talk a lot about Teams, and it's because the market presence is huge. Over 350 million people on Teams as of right now. That's insane. So there's a lot of integration happening on the NUSO side. This is a great add to that. Thank you for bringing that up, Nigel. I can't believe I missed that.
No worries.
Love it. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any questions. So before we shut this down, if you've got questions about pricing on this, you've got a potential opportunity that might be perfect for this fit, reach out to your channel account manager. They're going to be able to go over the numbers. They can talk about the how to get this sold, all that kind of stuff. If you do not know who your channel account manager is, reach out to marketing@nuso.cloud. We will get you connected to your channel account manager. And we will be doing more webinars in the future about this product and our other contact center products as well. So watch for those. And before we shut it down, I'm going to start with you, David. David, do you have any closing comments for us?
No, there was no other questions, but also I wanted to, when we were talking about the skills-based routing, I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that if you're part of multiple queues, you can change the skills on any of the queues. You don't have to have the same skill set on all of the queues, which a lot of the contact centers do force you into. So you can have different skill levels based on different queues. So
great point.
That's pretty important.
Huge point. No, that's great. Thank you, David. Nigel, anything before we shut this down?
No, I guess the last thing you mentioned that reaching out to the channel account managers and finding more information. I think there is, if you have access to the resource portal at resources.nuso.cloud, you can go and find documentation about NUSO Connect for Business, as well as all the other products in the resource portal.
Great.
Yes, that's true. Great point. Yeah, our resource portal, tons of documentation on all of our products, but yes, we do have a lot of documentation on Connect for Business, Connect Recorder, which we talked about just a week or two ago. So yes, go there. And I want to thank everybody for joining. This has been great. Have a fantastic rest of your week. David, Nigel, appreciate you both.
No problem.
And that'll do it. Have a good one, y'all.
Take care.